Hello and welcome to the next episode of MentorMind by Super Satang. Today we have Kun Jackie Wang, who's the head of Google Thailand. I'm really happy that you're here on the podcast to share your insight and your expertise. Would you like to introduce yourself?
So happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Krish. Hello, everybody. My name is Jackie. I'm the country manager for Google Thailand here. I've been with Google 9+ years now, but been in Thailand in and out, grew up here. So Thailand is my home, even if I'm not Thai.
Awesome. So could you please share us a bit about your journey and how you, as you mentioned, you grew up in Thailand and how now you're the country head of Google. Just take us through the journey, what obstacles you may have faced through the time and what you've learned so far.
Sure. My background has been, I would say, not your most typical, I guess, Google profile, though I think we are really expanding in terms of the type of people we're hiring and bringing in, which is great. And I think before I joined Google, I'm actually in advertising, so not even in tech, in advertising. And that, where I wanted to do for my career was actually to be in the movies. I want to be a producer and making and telling stories. But through my career, I ended up in advertising because that is what I call commercial arts. I'm not an artist, but where I feel that I could bring a lot of value is the business aspect and the project management and helping clients solve tough challenges, but still being using creativity to help tell that story. Like many things, digital is seeped into everything we did, and during advertising, digital advertising became a growing, interesting space. And that's probably how, in terms of my journey into Google. So I started my career in Google 9 years ago. Back then, if you can remember, when I first joined, we didn't even have YouTube Thailand yet.
Wow.
And it feels like YouTube has been around forever, but back then YouTube was around, but it wasn't a local domain. It means that in Thailand 10 years ago, when you watch YouTube, you're watching our international sites, meaning the suggested videos are not, the Thai content. So it's a very different look and feel of what you see today. So I had I would say the honor to join Google, and we launched YouTube in Thailand, which is a very memorable experience for me to bring that ecosystem to Thailand and make it locally relevant, meaning Thai creators are able to build content, make revenue from it. Our advertisers are able to leverage our platform, and then we are making much more locally relevant content for our users here, because our ecosystem works really well when it becomes a flywheel, when we have good content that our creators are incentivized and can dedicate time and resource against to make great content. I mean, we get more Thai people wanting to watch good content, which allow the business part of our advertisers, because they're valuable consumers are on our platform. So it's a nice flywheel, an ecosystem that I think works really well for us. But I started out as a sales role here, industry manager. I started as an industry manager, look after 3 key verticals. I look after FMCG or CPG, look after automotive and finance vertical. And then I had an opportunity to take on a different role, work on hardware, Nest Lab. That's when Google acquired Nest Lab. I had an old manager that was part of the very initial Nest Lab team. And when Google acquired them, had an opportunity he was growing his team. So I had an opportunity to move to Mountain View, to Palo Alto, and be much closer to, I would say, the mothership, to our headquarters. And it was a wonderful experience to get exposure on working on hardware. And it's not just hardware, but it's understanding services, to understand the software aspect in order for everything to work really well. And then after almost 2 years of that, I missed Thailand. I missed working with our clients and external partners. So I decided to come back. And about 3 years ago, I had an opportunity to take on the country manager role.
That's amazing. That's really, really awesome how your journey took you so many places. And I think it just shows our viewers how when you can start in one place, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up there for your whole life, and how it's almost like a roller coaster and you just enjoy the ride. So that's really, really
Absolutely.
lovely. When you mentioned that you went to Palo Alto, I mean, I've been there before and I've seen the Google campus. It's really nice. How would you say Google in the US and Google in Thailand, how are the services gonna come slowly into Thailand? And are they equally as developed yet, or are the services gonna like slowly come into Thailand? How do you see that shaping up in the next 10 years, like with Bard AI that we've seen, and all of the other cool products of Google, and how can that help our entrepreneurs here?
No, absolutely. I have to say, we've been getting better, and not only are there are products that are starting in the US and needs to get localized. Some of the delay is a language thing, and we're getting much better and faster, because it's really important when Google launch a product, we want to make sure that it's really helpful. And we know in Thailand, people still search in Thai. Like when we want to launch something in a market, we want to make it as relevant and as helpful and as useful. So it also means that we need to do it in the right language. So that aspect, things can improve a lot faster, and we're able to roll those products out. But there's also behavior differences, that some products, we're starting to launch some products in Asia first before even the US. And one really good example, I want to come back to YouTube again, is YouTube Shorts, for example, was actually launched in India first.
Oh, wow.
And not then went to the US, for example. So from that perspective, I think even Google, we're rethinking in terms of where product innovation is coming from, because we're also adjusting to the user's needs and the slight differences in terms of the behavior. So we take into all those consideration. But of course, I think from a Google perspective, there are certain things we also we want to innovate, we want to be bold, but we also want to be responsible, and we want to make sure that the experience that we have when we make it available somewhere is a good experience and is helpful. So there are certain things that we want to make sure that, like maps, for example, it does require us to actually go and capture those. Yes. And it's just one of those things where certain things require time, right? Like there's still Google Maps car out there updating images and recapturing the road, because a city like Bangkok or Thailand, new bridges, underway, overpass are being created, every month, and those need to get updated all the time. So from that perspective, I think with even new technologies and things like AI is going to help us make our products available to even more markets faster, right? If you talk about AI, one of the things that's been available, empowering a lot of things we do, is around Google Translate. And another really great product that's available everywhere is Google Lens. It doesn't need a language, and that is available everywhere, where you can use your camera to use it to translate different things and search with images, for example. So those are things that I would say, we have many products that once it's available, isn't available in many places. And then the second part of the question, in terms of how can Google help, I would say, do you say entrepreneurs, correct?
Yes. Yeah, or aspiring entrepreneurs, people who want to start getting into business.
I think so many things in terms of where I think Google can be a good partner in this space. Some of the things that we are doing, and I think is each entrepreneur, depending on what business or what they're looking into, the one area that Google can provide is a lot around knowledge, and in terms of digital skilling in various different aspects. Right, we have a program called Grow with Google, and we go in there, we very clearly segment it. Is it grow at the individual level? Are you trying to upskill and learn specific things to from an individual perspective that you then can find opportunities for the company? Or are you owning a small business? Here are some of the things that you may want to learn in terms of, could be as simple as learning the tools and understanding the tools available to you to have a digital presence online. You may have a physical shop already. How do you bring a digital presence online? What tools you can leverage from a Google perspective, like Google My Business? How do you ensure that you're listed and being found in maps and search? Or once you have it, how are you leveraging the tools like analytics to understand where the traffic is coming from and take that insights and turn it into better business decisions and grow your business that way? And all the way to Google for Startups, where we have, partners around the world to have hackathons and workspace, again, sharing knowledge and tools to help, whether it be small businesses to individual, upskill, learn new skills, and connect and learn from each other.
That's really, really cool. I mean, helping entrepreneurs and all these products that are available by Google. But one question I do have is, with all this upskilling and different knowledge, when AI comes about in the future in 10, 20 years, how will this shape the future? And how is Google leveraging this? And how is it using it to help nurture content creators on YouTube, or even small businesses that are using Google to digitize their services, and so on?
Okay. Maybe I'll break it down into maybe various different packets. Maybe let's start with how technology like AI is already helping people today. In a lot of the tools that is available right now on Google, AI is already playing a role. And the way we're seeing it is, how is it multiplying your efficiency, your speed, right? And how does it partner in terms of help you discover and to even become more creative, right? So I think that's one aspect in terms of how I think AI can help. And then the other pieces link back to what you mentioned about skilling is, I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, the question is also, what skills do you need as AI become kind of the forefront of the next technology, right? So it's no longer maybe just some technical skills is not enough, but that technology is changing. And I think this is where the skill of analytical skills is going to be, I think, important tool belt that you will have, I think, as an individual, as a person kind of develop in their career, right? I think technology, doesn't matter which technology, if you look back in the history of time, each technology will have a big disruption to certain industry. And for us, if I think about the disruption or the key milestone from the invention of the internet, how that changed so many things, to the pivot to mobile, and now we're at a critical stage where how AI could really influence and touch like all segments across. It's not just within tech, but in tech then will impact other verticals and industry as well. If you think about it, it's about how we can adapt and learn to change, and how do we thrive in this changing environment. At Google, when we recruit people, we're very clear that role-related knowledge is really important. Let's say if we're hiring an engineer, they need to know how to code, for example. If we're hiring someone in sales team, would be important that they have some skills, sales acumen, for example. So that is important. But what is equally important that when we assess somebody is what we call general cognitive skill. How do you problem solve? What is your thought process in problem solving, for example? Another area that we look at is around leadership. Someone is accountability on taking ownership. And another area of what we call Googliness, which really is, for me, is about how is somebody able to thrive in ambiguity,
Mm.
Right. And this concept of thriving in ambiguity, I think is so relevant now. It's the past 3 years where it's become so apparent. You've probably heard the saying, the only thing that's certain is uncertainty.
Yeah.
Things are happening a lot and there's so many uncertainty. I think the volume and the speed of uncertainty that we've all faced in the last 3 to 4 years, it's just been unprecedented, I think. And everybody sense that this trend is not going away. It's not a one thing that gets back to normal. And with this new wave of technologies that's rising, I think this speaks to that there will be more disruption and uncertainty, and we're not sure. So while that is happening, I think at the individual level and even as whether it be entrepreneur business, the ability to be able to problem solve, the ability to be able to adapt and thrive and not only be able to adjust and adapt, but really to thrive, right? Find excitement and joy and being able to tackle the problem from a glass half full aspect to see it as a positive challenge, all right? Being able to say, okay, things are uncertain, but be able to spot the opportunities of where we could really solve things or change things. And that for me, I think is an important skill set as the world is changing and there's lots of uncertainty and new technology that come into play that we're all still trying to figure out. But it's also really exciting because we can see the potential and we can see the unlock of creativity that could happen. So we're looking forward to, I'm looking forward to what new entrepreneurs are going to do. I'm looking forward to some of the impact that could happen from this.
Awesome. I mean, definitely, I really enjoyed how you talked about the other facet of what you look for when you recruit people in Google. And part of navigating ambiguity is definitely how you said to look at it from a optimistic point of view and how to find more of a opportunity within a problem. So how do you think the youth can start practicing this skill today? How do you think they can start practicing the skill set that you look for when you recruit people at Google? Because Google is such an amazing company that we would all be love to be a part of. I mean, so many viewers might want to join Google in later their life.
Thank you so much. I think what young people can do, I think one of the things is, I think, that I notice, I think, and more culture, which is great, and then for sure at Google is that good ideas can come from anyone, right? And continue to practice creating an atmosphere of inclusivity, which means actively listening and being open-minded to ideas from anyone. I think from a young people perspective, to feel confident and bold in terms of the ideas, but do it in a way that is respectful, and also do it in a way that you're also open to other people's suggestions and ideas, right? So I think if everybody could come to the table with the same mindset of how do we add to something, right? How do we become a cultural add to the organization? How do we bring something to the table, but also be able to listen to a different perspective as well, right? To contribute, willing to contribute is great, but also willing to listen and have that discussion. So it's not just about you, but it's about what collectively we could come together. I think that is, I find the younger generation is no shortage of, sharing good ideas and bravery, but don't forget to also listen as well. I think put it in as much as you're willing to listen and digest, and then see how we could then bring something to the next level together. is one thing I would probably like to leave behind. And I think when we're looking for people, in addition to what I shared in terms of, how somebody problem solve, and how you're able to have resilience and grit,
Yep.
going to be also really important, because in every wonderful success stories, there's probably more failures or struggles than the success, right? We tend to, and the path to that story is never a straight line. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. So the ability to have resilience and grit is also, I think, a really important attribute that I would like to, kind of say that that's something that we really look for as well, that I look for.
Awesome. Thank you. So as we conclude today, there's just one more question I would like to ask you, and that is, what would be your number one top tip for all the young people today, what they can start doing to add in this society where technology is moving so fast and new disruptions are always happening, whether it's personality-wise or knowledge-wise? What is the one thing or one top tip they can start doing today?
Today I just opened an event called Safer with Google, called Safer Songkran. And we actually targeted to Gen Z and elderlies around how to be safe online. Right. And part of what I was saying as we open is that technology and internet has such a potential to do good. And it can have such a positive multiplying effect. But it's also up to each of us to be kind and do the right things. And so for me, I would just say that, continue to take that and continue to shine light on the positive of what technology can do, and how I think we all need to protect it equally, right? I think and just from today's and what I share, in technology and internet is fantastic, but at the same time, it does come with some of the challenges, whether it be in Thailand, like online scam, phishing, for example, right? So how do we if we believe technology and the ecosystem is a good thing, how do we collectively make it a space where we all can enjoy safely together? And I think that requires all of us to contribute and keep that space in a space that we all want to play in.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your valuable advice and sharing a bit about yourself. I mean, definitely I learned a lot about what that knowledge not only important, but all other aspects that are important when it comes to being an entrepreneur or working and having a career. So I really want to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on MentorMind and sharing your wisdom with the younger youth, who I'm sure are going to take this on and definitely propel as people and as entrepreneurs in the future. So thank you so much for your time, Jackie.
You are welcome, Krish. And I really commend you for doing something like this. I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.